night breaking, we are taking, this is our time. Just breathe, this won't be a hard fight. The truth cash out in the night.
Hello, everybody. Johnny will be with us in just a moment. He's just working things out with our guests, trying to reach out to them. But the show will go on. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I know I did. In my small town, it's growing, it's getting big, and we've been highlighted on some TV programs and stuff like that. Those HGTV documentaries and stuff like that where they renovate stuff, and it's a pretty town. And matter of fact, I don't know if any of you guys watched the show Beard versus Food or something like that. That guy was here, and he did the ice cream challenge at one of our shops. It's a huge, giant 5-pound, I guess, bowl of ice cream and stuff like that, and he did that. But this past weekend, we had a thing called the Soda Festival, where we have thousands of different types of sodas and stuff like that you can try out and check out. And so it's a lot of fun. It's great for the kids. They had this great you ever seen it where they have the dogs at the show, and they see how far they can dive into the pool, and that was fun to watch. I videotaped that. I put that on my Facebook page, not my Bigfoot Facebook page, but my regular Facebook page. But it was such a gorgeous day, a little windy, but it was fantastic. And so we walked around there and checked the sites out and everything. It's a great time. They always have a lot of great things going on. And then that Saturday, I went to this thing called Opry Under the Oaks. And it's a guy I went to high school with, and he, long story short, he created an Opry house where when you go in, it's like a dinner theater where you sit at a table and you can order, burgers, hot dogs, stuff like that, and desserts. And him and his family perform. They're a band, and they play a lot of it's country gospel and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. It was really great to see everybody. It was a good time there. So it was a fantastic weekend. I hope everybody had a great Easter. I had a lot planned for Easter, but ended up having to work. So there went my Easter. But I did get my 72-hour fast in, which was really good, and so I'm feeling great. Like I said, Johnny will be on shortly. He's just working with the guest right now, and we'll have that show going on. So we have Dwayne. Hopefully I don't mess that up, Dwayne. Dwayne Ayers, 6117. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad to see you. I haven't seen you on here before, but it's awesome to have you here. And, of course, my good friend Leonard Athis. Love you, man. Good to see you as always. Yeah, that's right. We will have a Sybilla on, so this will be a really interesting show. Terry McCullen, love Sybilla. The lady is definitely angelic. Yeah, she definitely is. And it's good to see you, Terry. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made the show outstanding. And like I said, we're running a little bit behind schedule, but I'm very prompt. If I say the show starts at 5, we're going to start at 5. They'll be coming in shortly. Johnny was on, but he dropped back so he can make some phone calls and stuff. Sharon, how you doing, Sharon? Oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully we don't usually do it at 5 o'clock, but due to my work schedule, it's backed up an hour. I got to be with a client at 9 o'clock at night instead of 10 o'clock at night. Good thing is I get off at 5 in the morning, but the bad thing is it kind of hurts us during the week trying to get a show in. But it's good to see you, Sharon. Sharon, email me at you see it at the bottom of the screen, Sasquatch unredacted@gmail.com. I want to reach out to you, Sharon. So if you get a chance, email me so I have your email and I can get with you. But everything is great. Life is good. Everything's wonderful. I hope you guys are doing fantastic and stuff like that. The weather here in Florida is starting to do a turnaround. Still cool in the evenings, but the days are unbelievably beautiful but windy. All righty. If I see Johnny's backstage, so if he waves at me, I'll bring him on. Okay, he waved. Hey, Johnny, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man?
You doing all
Not
right? How's
sure
the
what's
family?
going
How's the
on.
baby? Oh, with
Everybody's good.
good deal, good deal. Did you get the cat taken care of?
Yeah, he was complaining about food.
That's usually when cats meow
So,
is they want attention or they want food.
yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know where she's at.
You know, yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe
Let's
she's
do
on a different
something.
time zone. Maybe she got that mixed up.
I don't know. I always put Eastern at the end of the time to let people know it's at 5 o'clock Eastern. What state is she in?
She's in Texas.
Oh, Texas. Okay, so she might be an hour, max 2 hours behind us. I
Hold
hope
on, I
not.
just got a
Too.
text.
Okay. Hey, I want to
She
do
said,
something.
"Oh, damn."
Hey, I want to do something different. I want to do something. If you'll bear with me. Hey, Sharon, give me a thumbs up if you're still in the chat room. All right. So it looks like we're working it out, and we're getting Sybilla. Is everything good? Are we good?
She just texted, "Oh, damn." So
Well, I'll see her when she pops backstage.
she
Here's
might be
what I want to
popping up
do.
soon.
I want to do something special here, and because Sharon is our overseas, she's the furthest person that watches this show. Okay, she's far, far away, so I'm sure the hours are different and stuff like that. So Sharon, I'm going to put the link to the show in the chat, and I want you to come in as our special guest. You don't have to say anything or anything like that, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but you can sit and be a part of the show and watch if you want to try that. Okay, so I want to do that, and here's the link. This is not for everybody, okay? But I want Sharon to, because we don't. Sometimes she can't make shows and stuff like that, but she is legitimate supporter of the show. I mean, she pops up all the time and always the first one, except for today. But she's usually the first one. So if you want to come in, there it is, Sharon. And I'd love to have you. Okay, she says she can't tonight. Family is asleep. So wake them up. Plenty of time to sleep when you're dead is what my dad always said. You know. She says it's 11:08 p.m. there. Yeah, she's pretty far away. She's overseas. She's
Good Lord.
overseas. So yeah, she's. I think I'm gonna mess it up, but I want to say Denmark. Did I get that right, Sharon? She's way over there, but she's fantastic. And I know we're not the only show she supports. I know there's a lot of other shows that she's on that she pops in and shows support. Belgium. She's in Belgium. Yeah, well, Leonard says
Belgium.
she's in Belgium. That's what Leonard says. So Leonard, yeah, my dad used to say that. So I see Sybilla backstage. If she'll wave at me, okay, we'll bring you on in just a moment. Just saying hi to everybody. So we got some great guests here, and I guess you got some fans. Sybilla, Terry McCollin is here, and but maybe next time, Sharon. Maybe we'll get you next time, and you can be a special guest, just to kind of special co-host. You can sit beside us and ask a question if you have a question or something like that. Because it's been something that's weighed on me for a while that I really want to do something fantastic for you since you're so far away, and I know the time changes. Like it's almost it's a big time change between you and us. So wanted to give you that opportunity. Anything going on in your world, Johnny? Anything new? Anything exciting?
No, we're going out to the happy place this week at the end of the week. So,
Nice.
and it's only about, let's see, we had our sighting out there on the 12th. So, we're not so around the same exact time of year. So, looking forward to that. But other than that, man, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and bring on the guest.
Let's bring her on. Do you have an intro? Do you want to tell anybody about her or a little bit of a background before we bring Sybilla on?
No, just go ahead and bring her on, and we'll
let her tell herself.
do all that because she's got a way heavier background than even I realized.
Well, let's bring her on.
Hey.
Hey, how's it
Hey.
going? Let me put
What's
you in
going
the center
on?
here.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm in Central Time, and I thought it was 4:30. We're doing a sound check at 4:30, so I'm like working on my computer. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Y'all forgive
Yeah,
me.
there's a little bit of feedback coming from your mic. It's like a
Uh,
buzzing noise when you talk, but other than that, it's not bad. It's tolerable.
yeah,
So,
trying.
No, it's actually pretty bad on my end.
is it bad on
Really.
your end?
Let's
Yeah.
see. I wonder.
Yeah, it's a little bit of feedback when you talk, but
Now it's on mute.
neighborhood Sasquatch says it's bad. So he's like, the noise is bad.
Uh,
If are you on a laptop or anything like that?
no, I'm on a desktop.
Does it have its own microphone that you can just disconnect the headphones and just talk to the computer?
It'll pick up her speakers if you do that.
Will it?
Hold on. Let me
Yeah.
see. I'm trying to figure out how to see which microphone because I have two mics. And I'm
Well, it's
wondering
like
if
getting
it's.
feedback. If you got anything else on,
Let me try this other mic and see if that's what.
sure. This is what
Yeah,
live is
well,
all about.
while she's messing with that, quick story. So basically, all I did was I put on my Facebook group. I was asking around. I knew there was a lady, but I couldn't remember her name that drew Sasquatch for people from their sightings. But I couldn't remember her name, so I posted that question on the Facebook group, and they're like a couple people were like, "Yeah, you need to contact Sybilla." I'm like, "All right, good to go." And I contacted her, and we got to talking, and I called her, and I was just she got my description, and we went through all that stuff. Well, what I didn't realize is that I just thought she drew Sasquatch. I had no idea that she lived in the house where they conducted the Erickson project for 5 years. And for those of you that do not know that, that is a very, very famous project out there. And I believe, isn't it? How's your microphone going?
Is that any better?
No.
Is
No.
it still the same?
Well, let me answer neighborhood Squatch. We do a sound check, and
Yeah.
that's why we do start the show earlier. He was like, he was talking about another channel that does sound check prior to the show, and we do. It's just
It was
there
my
a
bad.
mix
was
up
my-
in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
the time zones. You're 100% not the first one to mess that up at all.
No.
In fact, that's happened several times.
It's a lot,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to fix it though because it won't be legible. We won't be able to continue on.
No, I think we can try to get through it. But
I'm
it's
sorry.
like
Now I can't hear you guys at all. Shoot.
do you want to go out and come back in and see if that clears it up? I don't think she can hear me.
Yeah. There, now I can hear you guys at least.
Do you want to go out and come back in and see if that clears it up?
Yeah, I don't really understand because this is the headset that I always use, and that's the one I can look in the settings, and it's the Razer. So I don't know why. I don't know why that's happening. You know how you can check which ones that you're using. So,
Yeah.
and I never had this issue before when
Yeah,
doing.
it's like
doing
a slight buzzing noise when you speak. It's like So
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's some kind of feedback. I don't know if you had speakers on or something like that.
Does that change anything?
No.
No. Damn it.
No.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys, because I blew the whole sound check, everything.
And try to is it pushed? I know this sounds ridiculous, but is the plug pushed all the way into the computer?
Uh,
Yeah, I'll ask her neighborhood. Yeah. Do you have any other programs running on the computer?
oh, I got a whole bunch of programs running on my computer. Oh,
That
no.
because we're
Oh,
getting
wait.
feedback from somewhere.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you want me to just go out and see if I can come back in? Because now you don't even have video.
Well,
Yeah, you just go out and come back in.
that's down at the
Whenever.
bottom. You hit the camera down at the bottom of the screen on StreamYard. If you click on that, you should come back. But go ahead and go out and come back in, and
There you go.
yep, there you are. There's your green
Okay.
screen.
Okay, I'll go out. I'll go out.
All right,
Uh,
we'll work it out, guys. But
I'm so sorry.
anyways, give me.
So
I don't know a lot about the Erickson project, so if you could tell me a little bit about that, I'm sure she'll delve into it. But I've never heard
they've been
anything
on.
yet.
There's actually a really good interview by the I can't remember the guy's first name. Obviously his last name is Erickson, but it's a house where they had a bunch of activity. Going to ask her if she talk about the film at the Erickson project. Oh yeah, and there was a really good. They were on Coast to Coast. The Erickson dude was on Coast to Coast. Did a really good interview on there where they had actual video, and they've got night vision footage, like three different creatures on night vision footage, and one of them is freaking weird looking. It almost looks like it almost looks like a mascot. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's also connected to the Pancake House. If I'm not mistaken, we'll get her to clear that up. I may be getting my wires crossed there, but something about a lady that was putting out pancakes for them, and I'm not sure if that's. All right, let's see.
Go ahead and say something, Sybilla, because
Okay, something. Is that better?
No, still doing the same
it's
thing.
still there. Yeah, neighborhood. Also, let's try to weed through it. There's also a video of the creature named Matilda, I think it is, sleeping on
Yeah,
the ground
yeah.
in the
I
middle
think
of the
everybody
day.
knows that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everything's highly questioned by
Is it
skeptics.
possible that
Always.
you also have the webcam microphone on at the same time?
Um.
Go into your settings, check your webcam, and then check the.
Okay, so that's the webcam right there. Can you hear me? Does that make it?
You sound
Can
great
you?
right there.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
there. You sound
Let's
good.
see. But
Okay.
she might. Hopefully, our feedback doesn't come through her speakers and it pick up.
Right
How do
now,
we
it's
sound to you, Sybilla?
y'all sound great. Y'all sound great.
All right.
Okay, you definitely sound a whole lot better.
Okay.
I don't hear any echo. We are good to go.
Okay.
Excellent,
Well,
excellent,
I'm so
excellent.
sorry.
That's all right.
And we got neighborhood Sasquatch gives his thumbs up. He says you sound great. So.
Yay! I'm so sorry. Oh my
No, it's
gosh.
okay.
Um,
It's not a
I'm
big
not.
deal.
I'm
Trust
not
me.
usually like this squirrely. I usually pretty much have my act together. I'm
If it
sorry.
weren't you, it would probably be me screwing it up. So luckily, it wasn't me tonight. As Richard always says, it's always Johnny's fault.
We
Well,
always
this
blame
time,
Johnny.
this time
We
it
all
was
let Phil.
Sybilla's fault.
Yeah, because you'll see me. I'll turn my camera off because trying to save some buffer and speed there because my internet's terrible. So I'm usually the problem. So
Yeah, yeah. See,
we're
there
good
was
to
my
go now.
alarm. There was my alarm for doing the sound check, just so y'all know.
That's all right.
An hour later.
An hour later, exactly.
Well, I didn't have. I usually have a lot of communication with the host or the guests and stuff like that, but this was all happening so quickly. I didn't get information until today, and that's why I emailed you and sent you the link and did all that. And I usually go through I have a steps that I go through, and we didn't get a chance to
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
so it's
usually by
not
the
just
end of
your
it,
fault.
Richard's in your bushes.
Usually, what is she doing?
I think, all right, she's plugging the computer in. Let me run back home.
Uh,
That's
He's
hilarious.
very, very thorough.
Very thorough. Well, I try to do everything I can in advance so we have a good, smooth
Yeah,
show
yeah,
because we know Streamyard is gonna mess up anyways,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
and those are things we have no control over. But
yes,
and
totally
we, like I said,
understand.
I was telling everybody in the show, we usually don't do it this early, so I don't know what 5 o'clock is going to bring us with everything going on and people using Streamyard for different reasons.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
So start off with the first question, so you know where we're going, Johnny.
Where are we going, Johnny?
I
We're
don't know.
talking about
Where are
the
we going?
Erickson.
Oh,
So she
oh,
can
oh,
Oh,
okay.
well, we'll just go ahead and let
tell us about
just do
you,
like
Sybilla.
normal. Sybilla, just start from like you were telling me the other night how you kind of got involved, and then work your way up to the Erickson project, if you do not mind, please, ma'am.
No, I do not mind. Although I really prefer being where you guys are and not on this side of the camera. I like to be the one interviewing people. I don't like
Yeah.
talking about myself. It seems, I don't know. I'm just one of those people who, ever since childhood, has been just the mystery of things. Anything that was odd or unusual, paranormal stuff happened when I was a kid. I was kind of clairvoyant. That got me in trouble because I would know who was calling on the phone. I would know before someone got injured on their bike.
Hmm.
I would be that person telling my mom, "Oh, Jeffrey's coming in. He got hurt on his bike," and she'd look at me, and then 3 minutes later, Jeffrey would come in, injured on his bike. So
Wow.
finally, so I knew that there was growing up that there was just so much more to reality than everything that they were telling us. So I remember there was a book when I was a kid that was all about unsolved mysteries and had mystery animals in it, like the devil's footprints across, snow covered rooftops and, just anything that was a mystery. I was just totally engaged in and loved that. And, eventually I saw not the Erickson Project, eventually I saw the Patterson footage, just kind of like everybody else did, although I'm kind of ancient. And I knew immediately that was. I mean, for me, I know that's a big controversy right now, but to me, that's a real creature, and that's what I felt when I first saw Patty. It was like, oh my gosh, that's a real being, and then in I think it was 1989 or 99, there was an audio clip that came in. I saw it on Whitley Strieber's website because I've kind of a UFO and aliens are also my thing, and it had a man describing, he was calling 911. I know you guys have heard that 911 call. It's from Washington State, where that man is saying, you need to get out here. There's this, and she
Right.
says, well, what is it? It's big. It's a really big man or something. And he's terrified. You can hear, his dogs were killed and everything. And so I followed that audio clip to the BFRO website, and that was really the only big database out there back in the late 90s. I think it was actually started in 95. And so, man, I tore that up. I was reading all the reports. I just was absolutely fascinated because these were reports, they could see the time, the date, you could see all the behavior that the Sasquatch was doing, and you could see the county that it was happening in. So, of course, I devoured all of Texas reports, and then I started reading all the reports from all the states surrounding, and I just kept reading and kept reading. And then, you see those patterns. Like if there's someone from Washington State is describing what they saw, and then someone from Florida or Texas is describing exactly the same patterns of behavior, the same way they look, with the different skin colors maybe or different hair colors. But these are people that don't get to talk to each other because it's totally anonymous. You don't get to know the names of the people, so they're not all back there in the database comparing notes. These are literally people who are filing reports, wanting to tell their story. Um, High flat rock. And anyway, so I they started doing they started doing expeditions in 2005, and I remember just telling everybody in my family, man, if they do one in Texas, I'm going, and I don't care if I have to go by myself, I'm going. And so 2008 came, and sure enough, there it was, a posted in North Texas an expedition, and I tried to get someone to go with me, and of course, they're all chicken, and nobody would go with me, and so I went by myself. And from the time my boots hit the ground in that on that location, I was like, this is it for me. And I was a school teacher at the time, a special ed teacher in junior high, and I left that expedition with rearranged molecules. Like you know how sometimes you just kind of feel like you've discovered what you're meant to do, and man, I left that place feeling like this is it for me. This is the research that I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be involved in this, and I want to help people, and I want to be a part of discovery. This is a real thing. I mean, we had some activity, in our camp at the time. We had something come in, literally open and closing ice boxes, leaving footprints, checking out the trash bags. We had all sorts of activity, vocal activity too. Anyway, so I came back there just and I became a member of the BFRO back in 2008, right after I went on my first expedition. Some of the folks knew I was an artist, so one of the investigators from Wisconsin hit me up not very long after that and said, "Hey, I've got a witness that has a sketch that's really close to what she saw, but it's not, exactly like what she saw. Could you fix it?" And I said, "Sure, let me try." So that's actually how I got started. Was the investigators in the BFRO had witnesses that um, that wanted to work on sketches, and so and I've done a lot of portraits. So between I love to do really fine detail on the wildlife stuff I do. So it was really kind of the perfect combination of wildlife portrait and then this unknown, and working one on one with witnesses is, for me, I'm just so passionate about it, and I want to help people because so many people have uh, horrible PTSD from their encounters. And doing the sketch, there's something about it that seems to help them. Not every witness I've worked with has been helped, but I would say like 98% will feel better. It's finally out of their head and onto the paper where they can actually flip it around and show it to someone and say, this is what I saw, and this is why I no longer fish by myself or hunt by myself or, go out into the dark. I mean, some people stop going into the woods entirely after their encounters. And a lot of men in particular, like a lot of hunters, um, because a lot of people, especially hunters, if they got a rifle, they feel like they're the apex predator, and they have been all of their lives. And a lot of them have never, they may have been hunting 20, 30 years and never seen a single thing out of place or weird. And then one day, this massive creature walks into their field of view, and, so many of them, don't know what to do with that. And they're scared to tell somebody because they're afraid they're going to ruin their credibility, or they're going to be laughed at when they know what they saw. I mean, they may not know what it is, but they know what they saw, and no one's going to tell them different. And so they just so many people, and you guys know that you probably work with people all the time that will never talk, or they'll tell you, "You're the second person I've ever told," or "You're the first person I've ever told." Right?
No, I
So
agree. I
Oh
think
yeah,
you're right especially when it comes to men, because pride. We're the alpha. We don't want to be made fun of. We don't want to be rejected or anything like that. So I think more men are probably more quiet about it than women. I think women might be a little bit more forthcoming on, hey, I saw something really strange. You know.
well, we
and
don't
that was
we don't we don't typically walk around like we're the apex predator. Like we know we're.
well. That's exactly what happened. That's the entire reason we were able to have the sightings that we had, and uh, we're able to find our main research area, which we're going to this week, was Happy Harris, and I told you about his event where two of them came up behind him, right?
Yeah.
And that was 19 years old. It was over 30 years before he would tell anybody about it, and that was his best friend growing up, and he just quit hanging out with him. He quit
Yeah.
going hunting. He said that I think he said he went duck hunting a handful of times after that. But
Yeah.
then by the time we met, we went out to that property. We had our experiences. We had our sightings. 4 years later, he's now getting a deer lease every year. And
Yeah.
that's for me, that was one of the best feelings in the world is whenever we had our sightings and I called him up and I was able to say, Happy, you're not crazy, dude. We saw them. All three of us saw them. Like you were right. You're telling the truth, and that's a really wonderful feeling. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, it is. When I first started taking reports back in 2008, it was it shocked me how when you would contact one of these submitters and you'd get them on the phone. Oh my gosh, they were so thrilled to be able to talk to someone who believed them. I mean, even if and I always I tend to believe people anyway. Like I'm not one of those real deeply suspicious of everybody kind of person. So I always listen like with an open heart, and um, they would get you on the phone, and you were like suddenly their best friend because, and they would thank you and thank you and thank you. Like they would say, you have no idea what a difference you've made just by listening because
Hmm.
I feel so much better, and I bet you there's been at least 100 people who have told me, um, I haven't told anybody this in 20 or 30 years. Like I hear that so often. And I also hear so often where best friends have a sighting together and then they don't even talk about it. Like if they're in the car, they don't even talk about it in the car later. And then they never speak to each other about it again. Or like one of them wants to talk about it and then the other one refuses. So they just feel alone and isolated. That happens so often that relationships are ruined over it. I hate that.
Oh, it definitely makes it difficult. Absolutely. You know, and when we talk to people, especially out in the field, if we run into somebody, we just let them know that we're so open to what they have to say.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's not about I believe you or I don't believe you. It's about we just want to listen. We want to hear what you have to say. See what I'm saying?
yeah.
Um,
It's very
because like you
important to
said, what?
them.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it should be. Well, I mean,
I wish you
gosh,
had sent some of the drawings. I would have loved to have posted some of the drawings on the show so people can see some of the drawings you did.
they can go to, even while we're doing this, they can go to SybillaIrwin.com and there's a gallery. It's called the Witness Sketch Gallery. Just go right there. There's a gallery. There's a tab right up above that says Witness Sketches, um, and they can go there. And I wish there was some way we could pull them up. I don't know if y'all can do screen sharing or anything like that. Go. I
I'm
know.
not
I
that good
know.
yet.
I know you can do it. I know you can do it on
We did it.
this.
We did a show with Alex Petikoff, and I don't remember if it was during the show or after the show when me and him were talking. And all of a sudden, he's screen shared. He's doing stuff on my screen. I'm like, man, I wish I knew how to do that. you know?
Actually, I see. I think I see that like right down below. There's a little screen with a plus thing on it.
Yeah, that's where I've got the video. The one video that you did send
Oh,
through the
okay,
email, I do have that available. So when we get to that point, you want to show that video, I do have that.
okay. And that was at the place where the Erickson project had been. That was one of those weird, and anybody that has a habituation site, where these things are living around you, you've got some weird stuff happening around your place. And sometimes uh, it's so subtle that if you are not really paying very, very, very close attention to the things on around your house and on your deck and all that stuff, it can be moved around. Like I finally figured out you got to take pictures of everything because they're doing little subtle things, and I don't know if they're doing it to see if you're paying attention. Like I don't really know like their intent, but I finally realized. I mean, I realized after living there for a year that I understood how people can have Sasquatches living all around them in rural areas and not really know they're there. Because if you're one of those people who You go to work in the morning, you come home at night, and you do your dinner, you watch your TV, and you go to sleep. These things, I think they learn very quickly what your habits are because they're going to try to avoid being seen by you. So they learn your habits, and you would never know they're there unless they
For the
want you to know.
Oh yeah, one of the.
for those
Go ahead,
watching
Johnny.
that don't know anything about the Erickson project, can you kind of back up a little bit and explain how you heard about it, and then eventually how you got involved, and then how you moved there?
Um, One of the members of the Erickson Project, his name is Dennis Foll. He was one of the lead investigators on the Erickson Project, and he was a Colorado investigator. And I met Dennis Foll in 2008, and we just became instant friends. Him, and then I met his wife on another expedition later that year. Her name is Shannon, and so that's how I kind of came to learn about the Erickson Project because Dennis was very generous in sharing. Like he couldn't transmit his the videos and stuff that he was getting, but if we were on an expedition, he would bring his laptop and he would be sharing like little snippets of night vision or thermal recordings or audio recordings with us. So that's so I when they were being so successful at getting data at recording data that's when I realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go live on a site, where a habituation site. I honestly never dreamed that I would, in a million years, I'd get to go to the Erickson project. I mean, go to where that happened. That was too. I mean, that would have been like that was over the top. That was off the charts. Um, but that's how I found out about the Erickson Project. And like I said, very, very good friends with Dennis, and he would share stuff with us on expeditions. That was just amazing. And and then, so the Erickson Project was between 2005 and 2010. And Adrian Erickson. So how that all started was some neighbors. So there was a woman named Sissy, and her mother was feeding, like she was, like inadvertently at first. You know how people in the country, they just throw their leftovers and
Mm.
stuff. They walk them to some place and they throw them over the fence or whatever. So that's what Sissy's mom was doing. She was just throwing stuff over the fence. And then one day, I guess she had a visual sighting of what was taking the leftovers. And so she just continued to do it. Like she just continued to feed them. And then I think became more active in feeding them. And she was doing it for maybe 20 years or something like that. And then she left she left that house to Sissy, her daughter, and she moved into a different house. So Sissy had a sighting when she was a child. They had an outhouse, and Sissy was out at the outhouse and one night, and this thing showed itself. I mean, that was her first sighting was at the outhouse. Terrified, but then her mother explained to her these are here. They're not going to hurt you, and so when her mom stopped feeding them, then Sissy continued to feed them. So one day, Sissy and her, I guess, husband, I don't know if they were married at the time, Sissy and Roger, they were next door with the neighbors playing, what is that game that you toss the bag into the hole? The cornhole. So they were playing cornhole in the neighbor's yard. And you know how people get whenever they're having fun and they getting loud and stuff. So Roger left the Roger left the neighbor's house to go back to the house to get something, and he looked down towards the berm and he saw a Sasquatch standing there down at the berm, and he yelled to Sissy, "Go get my shotgun." And Sissy said, she refused. "I'm not going to do that." And he was not a good guy, um, abusive kind of guy. I guess he threatened her. She went and got the shotgun, and he fired at the Sasquatch. And when he did that, the Sasquatch didn't even like it. Didn't if it had been a person, and that's what Roger thought. Roger just thought it was someone being stupid, and that he expected this person to start yelling, don't shoot, or drop down on the ground. Well, this thing didn't. This thing just kind of was like, you know, what's going on? And, baby did start doing the swaying thing back and forth. Well, that's when, well, some of the neighbors came over too and saw the Sasquatch. So that's when it wasn't Sissy, because Sissy didn't want anybody to know about the Sasquatch. She hadn't even told Roger about the Sasquatch. So the neighbors got in touch with the BFRO. So that's how the BFRO they came to the neighbor's house, and then they walked over and they talked to Sissy. And Sissy did not want anything to do with the BFRO or investigating or anybody knowing. But I think one of the investigators mentioned something about, well, there might be compensation. And then Roger was like, okay, what are we talking about? So that's when I think Matt Moneymaker created a contract with Sissy and Roger to do research there. And then Matt didn't behave himself and got kicked off the property. And that's when Adrian Erickson, who was a BFRO investigator from Canada, stepped in and bought the contract, and then he became involved. So that's how that happened. And that was probably way too much information. But that's how
No, that's actually perfect. Now,
that's how it started.
one question, and I was talking about this before when we were trying to get everything together, is I guess the mother that was feeding them for 20 years. Was she the one? Is that where the pancake house came from?
That
Is
is
that the same property because she was
that is
feeding them pancakes?
Yes, that's the same property, but the video and I actually have that video. I mean, I don't have the rights to it, but that video was Sissy. That wasn't her mom. So her mom had already moved away, and Matt Moneymaker. So the property sat like up here. The house, in Kentucky, it's a bunch of hills, and all the homes are like up on top with these little tiny roads, paved roads that only one car at a time can go on, and the houses are up in the top, and then the property slopes down into the holler. So where's I going with that? So so there's the house sits up here, and then right below that was an old trailer house that I guess they were using as storage. So what they did was Matt Moneymaker and a couple of other men set up inside that old trailer house, and they set cameras because this trailer house had the louvered kind of windows like this. Do you remember those kind of? You guys may never have seen like old windows like that had the louvers, but you can't shoot thermal through glass, so you have to open, the louvers and everything. So they're shooting in there. So there are three men in there, and the video that I have actually shows them in the daytime as they're figuring out like how to put the cameras and all that, and you can actually see Matt and you can actually see Sissy walking down on the berm because the property really sloped down. The house is up here. It's about 250 feet to where the feeding station was, and like the berm, which was Roger dug like a hole and they had water in there. I don't know what that was all about and it really didn't hold water very, very well. But there was a berm, and Sissy would go walk down there and put like a plate of pancakes because that was very inexpensive. Pancakes with honey or peanut butter, and that's what she would feed them because you can make a huge stack of pancakes for very little. So one night, and this is how I know Sasquatch can see in the IR range, because what they did is they put an IR light bulb up there so that they could videotape Sissy. So in the video that I have, you can see Sissy walking down there. You can see her very clearly. She walks down, she sets the pancake paper plate down, and you can see her very well. And none of us could see the light on. That was just IR. But what did the Sasquatches do? Matt actually got to see one of the Sasquatch walk up and shield its eyes from the IR light, and then it turned around and walked off. So that's how we kind of knew early on that they could see in the IR range. Anyway, so they did.
Interesting.
Yeah, they did get a video of a little something coming up, and you just see this little head come up, and it turns around, and you see it looks pretty small, so it must be a juvenile. And you see it turn around and sit down, and it sits there. All you see is from the back that it's eating the pancake. So that is the pancake footage, and it was there. And you asked something about Matilda, and yes, Matilda supposedly was also videoed there. And there's also one of like a sleeping Sasquatch that was filmed there. There was DNA obtained. Okay, so Adrian Erickson bought the house that Sissy was living in from Sissy, and then Sissy and Roger moved about 2 miles away as the crow flies and bought another house. So it wasn't very long before the Sasquatches were going to that house. So research was actually going on in both where the original house was and the house that was 2 miles over. And the house that was 2 miles over was also where a lot of night vision footage was gotten and thermal footage was gotten. And also that's where they got DNA. They got in the form of blood because they glued glass, little like small shards of glass to the paper plate, and then they did like a peanut butter like pancake sandwich and or stuff like that. I don't remember exactly what the food was, but the Sasquatch licked the plate and cut its tongue a little bit and left a little blood, and that's how Dennis got that sample that went into the Melba study. So that was there. When the stock market or the real estate market crashed in 2010, then Adrian could no longer afford. See, there was a full-time Princeton. She was a Princeton biologist. Layla Hijack was living also at the house. See, Dennis would come and go for other projects because Adrian and them had another project in Tennessee that he would kind of go back and forth on. And so, but Layla lived in that house. So after the real estate market crashed, Adrian could no longer afford to keep the places and pay, the salaries of both Dennis and Layla. So he had to let them go. And then the house just sat there with nobody in it for 2 years. And then one day, I guess a field researcher drove by the house and noticed that there was a for sale sign there, and immediately called Dennis Fold in Colorado and said, "Hey, did you know that this property is for sale?" And Dennis was like, "Absolutely not." So he immediately picked up the phone and called Adrian, and he said, "What do you want for it?" Adrian threw out a price, and at that time there were several of us who were part of a team who were trying to find a habituation site. We were trying to find property to do a habituation site. It was Dennis and his wife Shannon. It was Tom Bruns, Dr. Tom Bruns from Tennessee, Ronnie Powell, and Craig Craddock. We were all part of a team looking for a place to do this. And suddenly the number was good. Dennis called Tom and said, "Hey, it's for sale for X amount." Tom said, "Let's buy it." And we bought it. And someone's asking about, is Layla related to Doug? I don't know, but it is spelled the same. But I don't know. I never got the opportunity to meet Layla. I really wished I had. But I did get to meet the neighbors who were there when Layla was there. Those neighbors were still there. And oh my gosh, that's a whole nother story. And they still have Sasquatch activity at that place. So everybody, I think we kind of knew that if we found a place, I was the one moving there because everybody else had, Ronnie had her life in Tennessee. Dr. Tom was married and had his life, and Dennis and Shannon had Colorado. So I was kind of like the loose cannon who could go some places. So as soon as they said we were buying it, I remember that happened in January of 2012. Boy, I went into my principal's office. I said, "I'm not renewing my contract. I'm going to be out here." And so I finished teaching that June and moved to. We got together, all of us at Crittenden, because oh my gosh, that house nobody had lived in for 2 years, so we had a tremendous amount of cleaning up to do. and all sorts of pipes were broken because it sat there for so long, and freezes and stuff. So we had a tremendous amount of work to do, and then I moved there, um, sight unseen. I didn't know a single soul, man. I was like in Sybilla heaven. I was going to get to live at a place, where Sasquatches had a 25 plus year history of interacting with people, and that's like my dream job. I was in literally like Sybilla heaven. Like what an opportunity! Like how many times do you get an opportunity in your life to go live in a place where that kind of activity is happening? It was insane, and I learned so much. I mean, I
Now,
can't
with
even.
when we showed the short film that you sent in an email, is that during the time that you were living there?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
good, good.
yeah, yeah. The when you're a researcher, and this has been established that humans, that these things they know who we are. You're just hoping that their trust is going to transfer to you, and I absolutely learned that is 100% not true. It does not.
Right.
You have to
Yeah,
start at ground zero.
yeah. I think that's our findings too. Is not only it's extreme. Everything's against you on habituating with them. Everything's against you to build that kind of trust where you're not a Jane Goodall walking up to them and
Yes.
stuff like that. And like Johnny says, he brings it up quite a bit that and until we're at that level, there's so many unanswered questions. I mean, people make speculations, and we got great ideas, but none of it is can be substantiated until you have that long term visual documentation of behavior and diet and everything that you would get from that kind of closeness. And that hasn't happened yet. Now, I hope it happens sometime in my lifetime. It would be fantastic.
Well, they're not there all the time. Like it's not an everyday you have that opportunity. Like they would be real active for some months, and then like after November, like November to I mean, sometimes there'd be some activity when it was snow, and I found some prints and stuff, but mostly they were really quiet between November and say the end of February. They're
Yeah.
they're not there all the time, and I don't know where they're going, but and then um, sometimes you'd walk outside, and there as soon as the screen door would close, there'd be a wood knock. So you would know they're aware that you're outside because you'd hear that wood knock. Or sometimes I would put the food down, and I'd turn around and start walking back up to the house, and I'd get that wood knock. So and I would just turn and wave or whatever. But sometimes I would walk outside, and there would be such tension that I didn't even feel comfortable walking that 250 feet down, to the berm. Or sometimes I'd get there, and I'd feel like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I don't need to be here. And I would, other times it would be so calm I could, sit down there for hours on end and not feel a single thing. So, you can sense when they're around, and you can kind of sense whether they want you to be around or not. And I also had really weird times. Like I remember one fall when I was walking down to, I think I was walking down to, to the feeding station, and I've got a plate full of, stuff. Because oftentimes I would do leftovers and stuff, and then they seemed to like pizza and all sorts of. If I'd have a big pot of stew, left over or whatever, I would take it down there. And I remember I'm walking down to the berm, and I hear walking with me, like on either side, there's something walking with me, and I should be able to see like where these footfalls are coming from, and I can't. I cannot see what's walking beside me, and you know, I don't know if you've had this experience, Johnny, where I'm a very grounded person, but when stuff like that starts happening to you, like where there's footsteps close enough to you, you can hear the crunching of the leaves. When you stop, they stop, and you should be able to see, because the foliage is not that thick. You should be able to see because it sounds like they're maybe 10 to 20 feet from you, and you can't. Well, that's when those things start happening. It kind of rearranges the way you have to. You have to like, okay, this is like in the woo thing, but that's what I experienced, a whole lot of woo there, like a whole lot, all the time.
Well, that's one of the first things that happened here on my property that made me realize that I was dealing with something
Mm,
that I didn't understand was when the dogs went nuts and I ran down to the side of my property, and it's where my chicken coop is now, but I could hear bipedal walking, and it was
mm,
just inside the wood line. And I say wood line, it wasn't even super thick right there. It was just from where we hadn't gotten to that part of our yard yet. We bought this house as a foreclosure, but I mean, there was just mainly saplings and briars and stuff. And it sounded like it was only like 25 feet maybe inside of that. And it was obvious bipedal walking. And what was super weird is, or what, that's where the intellect part of this came in. I shined my flashlight over there and it would quit walking.
mm,
I would turn the flashlight on again and it would walk again. And it was just very slow bipedal steps. And I could not, for the life of me, I thought the same thing. Like, why can I not see them? I didn't see uh, any movement from the branches or any of the saplings or anything else. But for probably, it felt like longer. It was probably for only like 2 minutes. But it did that the entire time. I would turn the light on and it would stop. And then I would turn it off and it would start walking again. And it did that till it was all the way out of earshot. And that was one of the very first things that was like, wait a second, I'm dealing with something.
yeah, and
This
mine,
isn't people,
no,
you know,
and mine was in broad daylight. It wasn't at night.
really.
Yeah,
Oh, well, see, I made sense of it by saying, well, it's dark. Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
don't know what to tell you during the daytime. That's completely different.
yeah. It's a very
But
strange feeling. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like down here in Florida, I get more encounters and stuff during the winter months. But I think it's because our winters are so much different than up north, of course. But it's milder temperatures, it's cooler, humidity is really low, and I think
Yeah.
they take advantage of that during the day, and evenings and stuff like that. Where in the summertime it's so unbearably hot. I think
Mhm.
that's when they do more nighttime stuff because of the humidity and the heat and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
yeah, because we don't have mountains where they can run to, you know, for higher elevations during the summer and cool down or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Florida's flat.
Well, and I know you probably think about this too, Johnny. You want to earn their trust, but you also want to get data. So it's really tough to decide. They don't seem to mind audio recorders. Like I could put audio recorders out. Um, in fact, I had a recording of something coming down to sleeping on the berm, like really close to the audio recorder is. You could hear it. You could hear like all of a sudden the breathing got real slow. I mean, it like it fell asleep, and every once in a while you could hear like, like it was snoring. So something fell asleep right by the recorder 2 nights in a row at like 5 in the morning. So they don't mind recorders, but how they know what a camera is, I don't know, but they do know. Like they know. And so you're that's that fine line between you don't want to destroy their trust. So hiding cameras is, they seem to they seem to know, and we did. Like, okay, so we as a team we're like, okay, we're not going to put up thermal cameras like right up front. We're going to try to build this relationship, and within 2 months, like, we were putting up thermal cameras. I mean, we just could not.
Well, once you start experiencing things, uh, I went through the same thing for like the first year and a half when I got them to start going back to the spot behind my property. Uh, it was a year and a half where I was only recording the audio because I was afraid to implement night vision cameras.
Right.
I would take a thermal, but I wouldn't put it up to my eye. I would stick it on my knee because I was so concerned with blowing that opportunity.
Yes. Right.
But then it just got to the point where I'm like, well, I'm getting all this awesome stuff happening. Like I had two different times where they actually ran up behind me,
Oh,
but people are just having to what? Sure, we believe you. We just
I
believe these noises, right? And it's like, how do you how do you get the evidence with not blowing? Because even like you were talking about before, with the trust before the activity starts here, even though this is year 8, they will still. It'll be like almost 2 weeks of me knowing that they are around and the dog's going crazy and I hear a few things here and there. And you can even feel, like you were talking about before, you can, believe it or not, you could feel it. You could
Hmm.
feel when they're here. And it'll be like that for, almost 2 weeks before they actually start interacting again. It's like I have to build that it's like they have to, I don't know, maybe they're scoping me out,
Yeah.
trying to find out if I didn't
Mm.
go crazy, in
Yeah.
the past 3 months since they left or what it is.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, they're very, 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 very cautious. Like
Very
so
cautious.
cautious. And there were stories even with Sissy, like where they would be extremely cautious with her too. Like so, I think just by nature they don't trust human beings. And good grief, like who could blame them? I don't trust most human beings either.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, who could
well,
blame them?
where is all the night vision and thermal and all that stuff video now? On who's do you have some on your channel or?
No, it's not mine, so I don't have it. I mean, I have some of it, but it's like I said, I don't own it. Dennis has it and Adrian has it, and they were working on a movie, and I think a whole bunch of stuff happened whenever the DNA stuff was going down. There was a whole lot of people that got involved in the DNA project with Melba, Wally Hurlsum, who had been a big supporter of the BFRO. He was involved financially, and probably a whole bunch of people. Well, I don't know if it's like a whole bunch. I know it was Wally and Adrian, and then Melba got into the mix, and a whole bunch of NDAs, a whole bunch of stuff got signed that basically handcuffed everybody.
Mm.
It was like an NDA spaghetti. It got really bad, and the frustration for my friend Dennis because of all the work that he did on the video that was going to be released that showed all this stuff. Um, and part of the problem too at the Erickson project, and this I had the same problem, or I had a similar problem when I was there, is the place where this was happening was just a very small little piece of property, and there was a big cattle farm across the way, like 5 family cattle farm, and then on this side was the previous neighbors, and on this side over here were some really the man who lived there earlier. He was a really good guy, but he left that property to his sons, and there was some really unsavory. He was a felon, um, drugs, involved, real unsavory. And they became so disruptive when I was there that I didn't even feel safe anymore. Like they had 3 or 4 pit bulls that they just turned loose. And if you
Mm.
know pit bulls at all, if you run into one of them, and they would be on the property I was on all the time, but like because they didn't. I mean, they were killing the neighborhood dogs. They were chasing the cattle and the calves when they were being born, and these were $10,000 a piece cattle. Um, and I kept telling them, you're getting your dogs, they're going to get killed because you allow them to roam like this. Well, sure enough, that's kind of what started happening. But I would not feel safe. If I would run into one dog, I'd be fine. But if you ran into the 3 of them together, it was, man, like they became this group, and they would be challenging me all the time. Like they would start growling at me, and I thought, well, crap. I mean, I had to start carrying a sidearm because of these dogs, because you didn't know like what they were going to do. They got real scary. Um, and then they started being killed. Like the dogs, my neighbors down the road, they started killing these dogs because they were chasing their kids. I mean, you
Mm.
just can't let pit bulls run around. Anyway, then
Nope.
they were
Got to draw a
also,
line somewhere.
yeah, then they started firing off a lot of guns at night. They were doing tannerite. I mean, yeah, tannerite. And then if you've
Oh
ever
yeah.
been around, have you ever been around that stuff? It's just
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, it rattles your windows. So they became,
especially at night.
oh my God,
Jesus.
these people. So, I mean, it just got to the point, and that's why I eventually left, is because there was very little activity anymore with all the stuff that these guys were doing next door. And then the Erickson Project had the same issue because Roger, Sissy's husband, was also like a super, super unsavory character, and it
Hey,
was
guy.
reported.
Real quick. Let me. I gotta hop off for just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sure.
It was reported that he was going into town and trying to bribe people to wear suits.
Hmm.
So, and in doing so, then would ruin the credibility of anything that
Yeah.
was captured. And he did that on purpose. I mean, that was 100% on purpose. And there was
There's a
another,
lot of people that do that.
yeah,
Especially that's why a lot of people don't realize why researchers keep areas quiet, because it has nothing to do with certain things.
or
It has to do with people
gatekeepers.
coming
Yeah,
out there and hoaxing and
it,
ruining the evidence that you're trying to collect. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
And
And because
that's what happened.
yeah,
That's
because
what
if you film it and you think you got something and you post it, they're going to come out and say, "Ha ha, gotcha, it's fake, blah blah
happened.
blah," and now it ruins your credibility, and they get to run around joking that Bigfoot don't exist, and that happens a
Yeah,
lot. It's actually very frequent, not just AI stuff, but just people out there
yeah.
doing stuff.
Well, and it happened there. There was a man named Tom Biscardi. You probably don't know who he is. A very wealthy man
Yeah, I
from
know.
California. So he found out where the Erickson Project was, and he started visiting with all the people along that road, trying to get trying to get them to give him access to the property. Like he started like cozying up to this woman who lived two doors down, uh, trying to get access because he said he would like go to her and then go back down her property and then walk over towards the Erickson property. And then
Yeah,
it got worse. Then he went to Sissy and Roger and offered them money to break the contract with Adrian. And I actually think, because I saw a letter where that Tom Biscardi had written, trying to bribe
yeah,
Roger. And Roger was one of those people. If you offered him more money, he was going to take that instead of stay with his contract because he was not legal. Legal anything didn't matter to him. Um,
right.
yeah. So there was a time
Yeah,
when Roger called Dennis and said, "Hey, I have this incredible footage." Dennis flew into Kentucky, went to Roger, saw the footage. It was incredible. But Roger said, "No, I want $10,000, or however, I want thousands of dollars more than the contract you're paying me." So Dennis said, "Well, I don't know if I can do that, but I'll go call Adrian." So he calls Adrian. Adrian says, "Okay, go ahead. If it's that good, I'll pay it." And then when Dennis got back to Roger's house, oh, I accidentally deleted it,
ah,
which I
how
doubt.
convenient.
I
Yeah,
doubt it. He probably just sold it to Tom
sold them
Biscardi.
some.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
And
and
there's a
then
lot of people like that
All
that
right,
do that.
I missed that. You don't have to go all the way back, but what footage are we talking about?
it was apparently some daytime footage that Roger got because Adrian gave them all sorts of cameras, really high dollar cameras, and it was some really excellent footage, daytime footage that Roger got that Dennis
Roger's
flew
the
up.
husband, right?
Yes, he's the real bad
Right.
guy. Uh, and they flew in, and then by the time Dennis got the go ahead that he would pay extra, besides the contract money that he was being paid, Roger had accidentally deleted it. So, and Dennis said it was the
Yeah.
best daytime footage like you've ever seen. Dennis,
Gosh.
poor Dennis was just heartbroken. And he's such a good guy too. He's just one of those people that kind, generous, honest as the day is long, and he just got, shit on by Sissy and Roger and all of the circumstances that you know. Dennis gave up his business to do this, and then ended up, not getting paid for like over a year of his research. I mean, it was a really bad deal. But,
Well,
oh,
if
and
y'all
you know
want,
what?
let's.
Here's one thing too. There was one night when a helicopter was flying over Sissy and Roger's house, and there was armed men on the ground in camo that Roger and Sissy are seeing coming down into their woods, and there's a helicopter, and they're spotlighting down, like literally, they came to shoot and kill Sasquatch on their property, and
Wow.
that's why when I moved to Crittenden, nobody knew where I was. The only people who knew I was there doing research was my family. Nobody else knew where I was.
Was it? I'm assuming with a helicopter, it was government.
No, it was Tom Biscardi.
Yeah.
Now, who is this?
He's a very wealthy
I've heard
guy from
about him.
California, a
Yeah.
hoaxer. Like he's been involved in really shady things.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Gosh.
doesn't have a good reputation, and it's
No,
sorry to say that there's a lot of people like that that will, once they find your location or something like that, especially if it's a very popular. I mean, you're getting a lot of evidence out of. They'll cut your knees out from under you, and
mm,
find a way in there to do whatever. It's horrible. You know what I mean?
it's
That's
sad.
why I tell I made the comment all the time that when we talk about the Bigfoot community, it's a very hostile community. you know, and trust is very difficult in the Bigfoot
Mm,
community.
yeah,
But
no, you don't. You
Yeah.
do
you want
not.
to
You do not give away your location, like ever,
yeah.
ever.
Do you want to
Yeah.
go into that footage? Y'all want me to pull up that
Oh,
footage and
yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about it. So we did try an internet thermal camera that ran 24/7. We hid it. We hid it. Okay, so we took a styrofoam ice box, like an ice chest, cut a hole in it, but only the lens, just for the lens, because we wanted to mask any heat because we know they can see, heat. So we hid it in this old trailer house. We built a shelf like there was a doorway, and we were shooting. Like we built a shelf so we could put this ice chest, only the lens you can see, and then we put a curtain over that with a hole cut out of it with a piece of trash bag because you can shoot thermal through a trash bag. So that there's the box, there's the curtain, and then we're shooting through one of those little, like, we open the slat windows and we're shooting down towards the berm through a slat, and it's 8 feet up. Like this window where this we're shooting out is like 8 feet up. So it's only up there for maybe a week, and I come out to change the SD card, and the whole thing is knocked down. The whole thing, shelf and all, is on the ground, and there's a tobacco stick like on the floor. So like the Sasquatch discovered it and just knocked the whole thing down. So we tried,
wow.
we put it back up and tried for a while, but we really didn't catch anything. But there was some really strange anomalies, like weird heat stuff, and I still have probably 6 months worth of thermal stuff that I really need to go through. But
Yeah.
this video that you're going to see is we got a little thermal, put it in like an ammo box, did the same thing where we cut a hole so that the lens fit in there, and I could just deploy it. It had a DVR with it and a battery pack, so I would just sometimes I'd put it out on the porch and I'd shoot it down the road or across the cattle field because stuff happened over there, across at my neighbors. And this night I put it down, shooting towards the berm, like maybe about halfway down. And I put it like a lawn chair, I had an old camp chair, defunct kind of camp chair. So it wasn't, trying to kind of hide it a little bit, but try not to be too obvious. And so that's what this footage is. And then you're gonna see something that moves through the frame so fast that you can't even tell what it is. So I have to slow it down multiple times for you to actually get to see, like, what something comes bounding, and the distance between where the actual camera was and where the berm was, where these things come bounding up from below the berm, and it looks like they jump like maybe 20 or 30 yards at a time. And it's a black figure. It looks like hellhounds or something. And then so you'll see these two things come bounding through, and then you're going to see something that raises up behind the berm, and you can't really tell how massive it is at first until in the video I'm going to show you how what like you'll see a picture of me, like a thermal of me down at that tree, and you'll see like the size of me, and then you compare. You maybe have to run the video once or twice so people can actually see it. But there's
Yeah,
a
we'll
size.
try to. If you ask me, like pause, I'll try to pause it at those moments. I'll see what streamer will let me do. But yeah, well, definitely you can narrate while it's going on too. You can narrate. But if you need me to pause, just say pause, and I'll
Well,
try to do it
the
as quickly as I can.
towards the end, like I threw in thermal because that same night some dogs came running through, and then there's like a raccoon that comes through, so you can see the thermal is working just fine, but these
Right.
creatures that get caught, they're black. It's not a heat signature, like, so it's one of those, what the heck is this?
Right. All
It's
right.
very
Let's
weird.
set that up. Let's set that up. Okay, here we go.
So these things are going to come bounding through really, really fast. So you didn't even see it. Here it comes at quarter speed. There goes something. There
Yeah.
goes the second one. And they keep watching by that tree. Something is going to huge is going to stand up.
So we're keeping an eye on the tree in the center.
Yeah. Yeah. Right down, but right. See, now it's moving away. It pops up really
Right.
fast, and then yeah, it pops up and then it moves away. It's right at the base to the left side, and then there's a very quick head and shoulders to the right of the tree. See right there, and then it goes back down. So apparently there was more than one that night. Now there's me, like so you can see the scale of how huge that tree is, and there's dogs. And this is all that same night when the Sasquatch was there. That's the thermal in that little box right there where the camp chair is.
And
And
that's the view during the daytime.
that's the view during the daytime of what. So that big thing was just to the left of that tree. Um, it seems like some of it's being kind of clipped off, like you can't really see the bottom very well.
Right. We could play it again.
Did
That's
they
up to
ever
Play it one
find
more.
that box?
They never moved it. Like they never moved it.
So now people saw it. They got a better idea. So let's watch it again.
Yeah, see
Yeah,
that it
I
all.
see the super fast one.
Yeah, it just. I don't even know how I saw it. To frankly, I don't even know how I caught that because it was so fast. Kind of freaked me out. Like, what are these black things moving through this? There's no heat signature on it at all, and they're moving so fast. Like, what is that? What is that? And kind of change the way, and then this guy's going to stand up right to the left. There he is. Like,
Hmm.
what is that?
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, the resolution is since this is a copy, is not as good as the original. The original you can see a little bit more detail, and then there's another one that kind of pokes his head up to the right. And see, that's about a 7-foot drop from where that berm is to down to where the ground is. But you can see how small I am.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was, running through the frame that at such a high speed, but you hear that over and over again from people who see this strange phenomenon is that they move in ways that human beings can't. They move with a speed that human beings can't. And I don't think those are Sasquatches. I mean, I think the ones popping up are, but not the things that were flying through the frame. Like, what the heck is that?
Right.
To this day, I don't know it. And then there was a time I caught, I put the thermal camera out the back window, pointing at my neighbor's fence line because Ronnie Powell had been at the house and she got sick, and she happened to go outside and she was like really, really sick. And she suddenly felt like something was looking at her. She turned and there was a juvenile Sasquatch that I guess had come to check her out. And then it just turned and walked right down the fence line. So I put the thermal camera up, in the window with the window open, shooting through the screen. And I caught, if a cloud could walk like up a fence line, that's what it was.
Right. Right.
It's like a see-through cloud is walking, and it materializes about halfway up the fence line, and then it walks right off the screen, and it looks just like a see-through cloud.
Hmm.
What the heck is that?
Your guess is as good as
We
mine.
had a we had a guest in the past last year that said the same thing, that what she saw, it looked like a dark mist, and it just kind of went across the road. No detail, no nothing, just this dark mist.
Yeah.
So I don't
Well,
know.
there were things that happened inside the house as well. There was stuff that would move on its own, and I don't know if there's that line. Okay, is this house just like haunted and a bunch of paranormal stuff, or is this the Sasquatch people doing this? Like, what's moving these things, on their own? And then one time, my son came to live with me for about 6 months, and boy, that was a great experience. And he has a he was kind of sitting on the fence about Sasquatch until he got there, and then some things happened, and he was like, okay, I believe you.
Right.
And then one morning, in the kitchen, I guess the house had been built in two separate times, and so when they added this second bedroom and a bathroom and a washroom, there was about maybe a half of an inch raise in the concrete. So everybody was stubbing their toes on that between the kitchen and the washroom. So I put down, one of those Walmart little, like a rug, that had carpet rug, just so people wouldn't hurt themselves, including myself. And it was a shag carpet thing. And one morning, um, there was a footprint, a huge footprint, much larger than mine or my son's. And it wasn't going in the direction of travel. It was opposite the direction of travel. It was embossed in the carpet. So I'm standing there at the stove making coffee, and I just happened to look down, and there's this footprint embedded in the carpet. I'm like, what in the hello? And
Hmm.
then when my son woke up, I stood there and I was like, look down, and he looked down, and I know my son very well. Parents do. You know what your kids' tells are. He wasn't lying. When he looked down and he saw that footprint in the house, he absolutely freaked out. He was like cussing, like, what? Now they're coming in the house? And I'm like, well, apparently they are.
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
a
it's
guest
one
one.
thing to have them outside. It's completely different to have one inside your kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
because
got
we
to
had.
feel what it's like to be snuck up on, and you
Yeah.
know how they are. If anybody who's done this for any length of time, they can come up on you on a substrate that there's no way in hell, but they do. Like they come in. I mean, there's leaves and sticks and all sorts of should be, you know. I mean, there's no way, but they like one got within like 15 feet of us in a substrate that they couldn't possibly. And then my son snapped a real dry twig to put it in the Dakota pit fire, and this thing took off, running towards my neighbor's house, and she had a dog pen there, and the dogs went to screaming like I actually at first I thought somebody was killing her dogs because that's how terrified they were. And then I mean, first we felt like the boom, boom, boom of this thing running away from us. I mean, we could feel the ground shake. Like we'd feel, you could feel it. This, I mean, it felt like 1,500 pounds running like an elephant, and then it turned and went down towards the her property line. And my son was like, "Okay, I'm." It was like f bombing for like 2 minutes. He was like, "I love you, mom, but I'm not staying down here." And we turned around and left. So he became a believer that night. He said, "What in the world is in Kentucky that could sound like an elephant running away from you and run with that much speed? Like, there's just no such thing." So,
Right.
cool experiences.
Well, like
And it
I
gets
was the only thing I could think of earlier when you were talking about the outhouse. So seeing one from the outhouse, I'm like, that's an easy way to clear your bowels. Seeing a Sasquatch while you're out in an outhouse. Yeah, yeah. I don't have a filter, so if I if
Yeah.
I think it, I'm going to say it. But I mean, yeah. I'd be a
No,
little bit
no.
worried about coming out of there.
Oh, I just can't imagine being a child and seeing something poke its head around and look at you while you're in there. Like, how terrifying would that be? And the distance.
Oh yeah.
I know where the outhouse was, and it was probably only like maybe 20 or 30 feet from the house. But when you're a kid, well, when stuff is going on, you're camping and you're on an expedition, and the next tent is 25 feet over. When these things are walking around your tent or playing with your rainfly or your zipper or whatever or breathing heavy, man, that tent feels like forever away. Like you feel real like alone.
Big, Bigfoot with privacy issues. Yeah.
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 I have a safe space, buddy.
And that
No
happened
such
on
thing.
that happened on an expedition where some Sasquatch literally started unzipping a tent. Like they were doing that. They
Hmm.
were doing that. Yeah, they were very brazen. There's a place in Colorado, the wildest expedition I've ever been on, where they kept us awake all night because they were running through the camp, like literally stomping, running through the camp. I mean, you would just they'd come through, and then you just kind of start like the adrenaline would just start leaving, and you're just about to fall asleep, and here they would come again. They would start with wood knocks and then talking to each other, and then they'd come racing through the campsite again. Never went to
Yeah.
sleep. One of those nights I never went to sleep. Crazy. And we got that recorded on audio too, which was very cool.
Kind of reminds me of an interview Brian King Sharp did last year, or maybe longer. I don't know. Where this guy was telling the story where, let's just put it this way, he had relations with a Bigfoot, where it unzipping came in his tent.
Really?
It is.
What?
Yeah. If anybody, I'm telling you, go to Brian King
Brian
Sharp's page.
actually did that interview?
He did the interview, and I understand why, because it was the most entertaining interview I'd ever seen. I mean, it just enthralls you.
Oh,
You're
wow.
like, I can't believe this guy is telling this story. It's unbelievable. But I understood why Brian did it, because it's so off the wall, and it got a ton of views. But this guy
I bet.
goes into detail. He goes into detail. And
Was that a couple of years ago?
yeah, it was either early last year or maybe longer.
I think I
But it's easy to find it because I think the title is "I Slept with Bigfoot" or something. But it's crazy. It is really crazy, and but so entertaining. I called him. I called Brian. I said, "Dude, I get it why you did that, because that was entertaining. It was entertaining." So
wow, poor dude.
yeah, poor guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and, there. I've led expeditions where in Texas, and I tell women, if you're going to be on your menstrual cycle, you probably don't need to stay in base camp. You need to just get a hotel room, because unless you're totally okay with having a whole lot of activity around your tent. And if they're newbies, I'm like, no, you need to stay in town. Come do all this night stuff and do all this stuff, but when it comes time to sleeping here, go stay at a hotel.
Yeah, well, me and Johnny come from a hunting background, and we'd say that at anything, even if it's just regular hunting. If your spouse goes
Yeah.
hunting with you, during that period of time, it's not a good idea to go out
Yeah.
there, especially in Florida. Don't go swimming in the ocean if that's that time because you may create some problems.
Yeah.
Um,
Horrible
but
thought.
I had an incident a few years ago where something came in my camp, and I have a pretty large tent. It's a 6.5 feet tall, 13 by 9. It's a pretty big tent, and something while I was sleeping came in and rubbed the roof from one end to the other. Just walked around and rubbing the roof. I've never had anything open or attempt to open because that would not be good because I do go armed. I never go in the woods unarmed. So it wouldn't be good. And God forbid it's a vagrant or somebody or some kind of feral guy because I'll treat them
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody who walks into anybody's tent at night is literally taking their life in their hands.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
definitely not a good idea. One of the times we're about to go out to our main group research area out in East Georgia where we had our sightings, and me and one of the guys, he's never seen one before. This is probably the first time that he actually kind of, started to really get the feel for what was going on. His name's Hank. But we drove out there and it was just me and him. And my idea was, there's it's a big pipeline clearing out there, right?
Mm.
And usually we kind of camp on that pipeline clearing. I was like, dude, you and I need to get like back in this little, I don't want to be out in the middle of the open. I want to make it to where they have to come in close if they want to see us. So we parked in this little area and we're all, we're surrounded by trees and everything. He goes to bed and I go to bed and I'm sleeping in the passenger side of my vehicle and I am just about to fall asleep. And I hear whack right on the side of the driver's side of my door. And I turn my phone on and I'm recording. Nothing else happened. I eventually go back to sleep. I get up the next morning and I tell Hank, I'm like, hey, dude, right before I went to sleep, something slapped that side of the door. And him and I were looking around and he found it. It was actually almost on the bottom panel at the very bottom of the door, a handprint, like much bigger than his or mine. So what I assume probably happened is probably came up on all fours and then slapped it like that. That was the first time that he was really like, well, dude, there's something out here, But we've had other times out there where I think they're pretty much out there every time we go there, but they're not interacting because one of the last times we went out there together, I left a GoPro inside the camp and there was walking around, stick breaking, all kinds of other stuff. But the whole time we were there, the whole 3 days we were there, we never had anything happen, So just because you're not having interactions doesn't mean they're not watching, So I've gotten where now I try to leave out several cameras, hoping they'll come in even if they don't interact.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
My sinuses are draining. Wow. Yeah, a lot of times they'll wait till the very last day of the expedition and then all hell will go, break loose.
Right. Do you still go out with the BFRO a lot?
Since I've taken care of my mom, I really haven't been able to do much. I led an expedition. Right. I led an expedition, I think, in 23 here in Texas. But now the liabilities with taking people out seems kind of too high to just be, just taking total strangers who you really don't know how they're going to react under circumstances, and the liabilities it just seems too high these days to do expeditions. I'm still considered a BFR investigator, but mostly being a BFR investigator, people have made such a big deal out of the BFR being awful, and Matt Matt Moneymaker is the director of the BFRO, but the BFRO is literally made up of volunteers, of people who just donate their time to, log into the database and take reports and talk to people. Half the time people will file a report and leave their information, and then you can never connect with them. And, so the reports just sit there. And there's only a handful of people in each state who are doing it. Like in Texas, I mean, everybody
Right.
knows how big Texas are. There's only like 7 active investigators who are, actively taking reports. So, people are still filing reports, but, it's not, the BFRO is not bad. It's just that, um, the director has a reputation, and, but the people I know in the BFRO are like super excellent people who have integrity and really do care about, reporting things accurately and helping people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some good friends that are currently active BFRO investigators, and some that were previous BFRO investigators, and are all super great guys. And
Yeah,
every one of them, I like them, I trust them, and stuff like that. But again, everybody bases that whole system on Matt Moneymaker, and
yeah,
he's such other than him having control over it, he's a very small piece,
a
sort of
hundred
thing. It's not
percent.
like
Yes.
when you call the BFRO and say, "Hey, I had a sighting." It's not Matt Moneymaker coming to your house. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but chances are it's not. It's going to be
No.
somebody from the BFRO, and they're good investigators. They're really good at asking questions and getting down to the nitty gritty and what you saw, what you didn't see, stuff like that, and evidence.
Mhm.
Um, but
And
Matt
really,
Moneymaker,
their job is just to kind of flesh out more details of your report. Like that's their job, is to help you uh, to include more details in the report. Because a lot of people come on
yeah.
and they may have had like a 2-minute sighting, and they write like 2 sentences, and so your job as the investigator is literally to help them flesh out more details. So
Yeah, I mean, like I said, and neighborhood brought it up because he's bringing up the Finding Bigfoot show, and I try to explain to people there's two sides of Bigfoot here. Okay, you have the entertainment side of it, but you
yeah,
have the actual boots on the ground research, people like Johnny, myself, and people that we know that are in the field, going out there, spending time in the woods, camping, looking for things, which don't get televised. It's hard work. You're in horrible conditions sometimes, but you do have that entertainment side. Now, I'm not a big fan of Finding Bigfoot either, but it brought into light the Bigfoot phenomenon. And I think that show created a lot of new investigators to go out there. It's the same with Expedition Bigfoot. I'm not a big fan of the show. I think it's nothing but entertainment. I do like watching stuff about Bigfoot, so I will watch
yeah,
the shows on occasion, but I know where reality is and where entertainment is. And that's where people need to, if you want to watch it for an hour, take a break from your day, be entertained for a little bit and watch some Bigfoot stuff, it's great. But if you're going to use the show as a basis of evidence and proof and stuff like that, well, you're going to be let down.
yeah.
But it's really getting
Well,
out there and knowing real researchers that are spending time out there and stuff like that. And I have a open door policy. If anybody ever reaches out to me, Bigfoot Florida guy, and says, "Hey, I'm in Florida and I would like to meet up and go out," it's free. Go out with me. You know what I mean? We'll spend
Yeah.
some time in the woods.
yeah.
And
Because
get an idea.
it's better to go out with other people too, instead of going out by yourself. I mean, for lots of reasons.
Right.
And the BFRO, I mean, the people that are on those shows, they have very little control, to no control over how those shows are produced and edited. In fact, the very first
Yeah.
season of Finding Bigfoot, they all almost quit because of
Well, yeah. I
they.
had a conversation with I had a conversation with Renee one time at a Bigfoot conference. We sat and talked,
Yeah.
and that was one of the big reasons why the show didn't continue on, was because the Hollywood side of it, the entertainment side of it, wanted them to do certain things, and they
That's
refused.
right.
They
And
would not,
they wanted them to fake things. Yeah.
and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They said,
Yeah.
"It is what it is. We're not going to do that." So there was a conflict there, where
A
I
lot.
think with Expedition Bigfoot, I think they do take some liberties there and stuff like that, But
Well, the
Yeah.
problem they don't understand, and I don't, and I wish 99% of all of our problems, it all comes down to funding.
Right.
Funding. Because there's a lot of people, there's only one way to do this type of research, pretty much. And that is the way Sybilla and I'm telling you right now, private property. You find you
100%.
I enjoy going. I go to a bunch of different areas also. I go and I try out new spots where there has been reports, and I'll go off with somebody who's got, just go check a new spot out or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're really trying to get solid evidence, if you've got a habituation site, there's that's it. You've got
It's everywhere.
90% of the battle finished right there. But the problem is these networks, they don't want to take a team and fund it for 2 years and have two people
Right.
out there 7 or 5 days a week and then rotate like you should be doing. You
Right.
need somebody
Right.
out there all the time, like you did. I mean, you went the extra step to actually freaking move into the house, which I think is absolutely amazing. Um, but
No, but
that's the
you're right.
way.
And
If you're actually,
when you think
yeah,
about how those National Geographic or Planet Earth, where they get all that incredible footage. I mean, I remember hearing a story about this one man. It took him 6 months to get video, like a 30-second video of a known animal.
right.
Right.
Like six
Oh
months,
yeah.
just posted up in one place. And so, but people don't think about that. You hear constantly, I know you guys too. Where's your phone? Like, how come they didn't get a video of it? Blah, yada, yada, yada. You just want to smack them because most people
Yeah,
don't walk,
people,
you don't walk around with your phone
no,
camera out all the time. Um,
Oh yeah. I
it's
mean, it's happened to me and
try,
Johnny where
right.
you, you
Just try in one direction to record 24 hours a day. Just try. You're going to realize
it's
just how many freaking battery packs it's going to take.
yep.
If you're using a phone, your memory is
You're
going to fill up after, an
yeah,
hour and a half, 2 hours. Then you got to go and dump that and then come back. I
yep.
mean, just being able, just to, I'm the biggest, I've always said, uh, I would have the best Bigfoot video that had existed if I would have had more memory that day. I
Yep.
gave up. I gave up on recording in front of myself. I had
Yep.
recorded for 3 hours. And then we get to the other side of the property, and I'm like, well, I don't have much video left, so I'm just going to
Yep.
stick my phone in my pocket. And then I have the
It
best sighting ever. And people
yeah,
just don't
yep.
get it. It's
yeah.
not,
It
it's not
literally
that
happened to
easy.
me. I went up to see Johnny. We were out there at the happy place, and I went off on my own in this one area where the creek was and stuff. It was just a beautiful area, across from where the tents were. Not the same side as the tents, but across. You know where I'm talking about, Johnny. So I went down there, and I heard something. It could have been anything, a deer, anything coming through. But I was like, okay, something's coming this way. So I sat down and I went to record. All of a sudden, it says I have no space. So now I'm deleting stuff and getting rid of stuff and blah blah blah, just so I can record whatever's coming. And by then I'd missed whatever, and it happens. You know what I mean? I want to put
Well,
good
and
stuff there.
if you think about
Yeah,
if you're recording 24 hours, like really, you have to review that for 24 hours. Do you
Oh,
know
yeah.
how
gotta
long?
review it.
And you can't
Yep.
just fast forward through it. I mean, you can do a little fast forward, but then you can miss stuff because what these creatures are so subtle.
Oh yeah.
So and
I
that's
tell
another
people all the
thing people
time.
don't realize, like how much
I
time.
do it by myself.
Right.
I do it by myself. And it's a lot of information to go through. And people don't realize I can put out a 30-minute video of me out in the woods or a 40-minute video. They don't realize that's 5 hours worth of time in the woods just for a 30-minute video. And so I always tell people, go through it. If you see something, screenshot it, send it to me. I need more eyes because I do it all by myself. You know what I mean?
Well, like
Now I want to
Flat
hit
Rock.
this one. Seminole goes, the best thing to do is ignore the internet if possible. Works for me. Yeah, but Seminole, if you ignore the internet, you don't get to see people like me, Johnny, and
Right.
Sybilla.
Don't
You're
ignore
gonna miss us.
everybody.
Yeah, don't ignore everybody, buddy. Come
Yeah,
on,
no,
brother.
there are some really good people like you guys who are literally trying to do real research. The whole habituation thing, you're 100% accurate. Now, people do see Sasquatch by accident all the time, but that's just another anecdotal story, and it doesn't help. It's going to
Oh
happen
yeah,
just like you said. It's going to happen. But
Yeah, I went
but
up to Ohio last. I'm sorry.
but the habituation site is also like so you have to be insulated. Like I know a guy who's had Sasquatch activity around his house for years and years and years, and then somebody bought the property behind it, clear cut it, and it's completely changed the whole nature of everything around his
Yeah.
house, and he has no control over it whatsoever. So I mean, you have to have
Right.
enough property too. Again, that comes
Yeah.
down to
Oh
money.
yeah. Yep. It
Yeah,
does.
I'm about to
I
be
would.
dealing with that. They're about to start doing some
Yeah.
clear cutting on the other side of my neighbors. Now it's still up in the air on how much it's going to affect what's going on here, but they're building a facility and that facility is going to run 24 hours a day. Now
Oh,
they still technically are going to have plenty of room to go to. They can get to my house and everything else, but I mean, you've got I don't even know how many acres that facility. I think it's going to be sitting on 7 acres at a big facility that runs 24 hours a day. I mean, that I might be looking
Right.
at like this year for me is kind of like, you know, crap or get off the pot because I don't know how much time I have left.
oh
And I know, and I've heard
no,
this happen to people over and over again,
over
you
and
know,
over again. Yeah, yeah.
and they're running out of territory. And that's uh, I guess probably the best setup I've ever heard of is I've never been there, and I only know one person that's been involved is the Area X,
Mhm.
and
Right.
that project they got out there, and apparently that's a lot of acreage
Acreage.
surrounded by a lot of acreage. But then again, you have to have the money and the means to buy the equipment. There's very few people that can afford to do this.
Yeah.
You got to work. People got to make a living.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you
That's why I
had
tell people
unlimited
this is just an
funds,
expense. Yeah, this is just an expensive hobby. That's
right?
what it
Yeah,
is. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because it doesn't make me any
But
money. This podcast does not make us not one penny. So
but
everything we do is out of pocket.
Right, right.
I know
It
I
always
know
is for
three
all of us.
properties. I know three properties right now where these things are active. Mine, the property in East Georgia, and we have evidence that they've been there for over 30 years. I know they're not going anywhere. And then Flat Rock. That's another guy. He's got unbelievably good audio, but there's no telling how much audio that he has that he's never been able to go through. Just because he literally records audio every single night. So this
Wow.
just
Just time
there's so much
consuming.
opportunity there. You just don't have the funding. So I tell you, if I ever win the lottery, my wife knows. If I'm ever a millionaire, I'm quitting my
Yeah.
job, and we're gonna be financing some Bigfoot projects.
You better be calling
So
me,
get
Amen.
ready
Johnny,
to
because
travel.
I'm
Amen.
ready. I'm ready to travel. So let's get into some Q&A. If anybody in the chat room has any questions, because I've got to get out of here by 7 because I got to start getting ready for work. But
Aw.
if anybody's got any questions, put it in caps, and we'll put it up there and give whoever the questions directed towards an opportunity to answer it. We may not be able to get to everybody, guys, because like I said, I got to be out here by 7. But put it in caps so
Oh,
I see it.
come on, Richard. What is there, like 6 people watching?
Oh, dude, we were as high as 24, and we're at
What?
17 right now. Yeah, we're as
What?
high as 20. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
So
look
great.
out.
right now we're just under 20, but we were as high as 24. So
Yeah, I can't see
it's
that on my end. I wish I could. I'm on my
not a
phone.
question, but a statement.
Hey, hi Patrick. Oh, so good to see you. Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. And Mom is too. Like she's hanging in there. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Let me get Terry's up here because I did. Hey Terry, I did start to go back to, and I have put it up a couple times, but um,
Oh, he
he
asked
wants to
about
know:
mind
have
speak.
you had it correct?
Yes. Mine didn't show up as mind speak. This is going to sound really weird, but it was more like I got a visual, like a little visual audio, video. I know that sounds really weird, but it was myself and two other BFR investigators, two women. We were on, this was, we were in Tennessee, and we just would sometimes do this thing where we put our backs together and we close our eyes and you kind of send your awareness out. You just open up your awareness. And I got hit with this visual. This has never happened to me before of a female Sasquatch, and she had a baby, and she was like, had her arms over it, and she was kind of squatting down, and she was trembling. She was just so terrified that we were there. Like she, and it was really unusual for us to show up like when we did, because this was a hunting lease, and people were usually only there, during the hunting time. So we were just, farting around, walking around out there, and we caught her off guard, and she was terrified. And as soon as we opened our eyes, I told everybody, I said, we need to move. I told the ladies what I saw, and I said, we need to move away from here because she is terrified. So we start walking and only get maybe 10 steps, and suddenly I am hit. I mean, it has to be infrasound, and I'm hit with this wave of, I don't know if you've ever just been hit suddenly by, if you don't find a bathroom like within the next 30 seconds, you're going to be like super
Right.
embarrassed. I mean, I went from being perfectly normal to I'm about to lose my what. And I mean, I'm doubled over, and we keep walking, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm trying to, I'm kind of shocked. And we get around this corner to this place where, I mean, we just go around, we're on a trail, we go around the trail where you can't be seen anymore, and it stops. Like just as fast as that started, it was completely gone. So,
Wow.
like, she hit me with
So
some.
you got a question. How long did the Erickson project last before reporting it out to the public?
Oh, I don't know that, because I became aware of the project in 2008 because of my relationship with Dennis. So I really don't know the answer to that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So, what do you got going on now? Tell everybody what's going on in your life. What direction you're going with the whole Bigfoot thing? What are you actively doing? Are you still doing sketches? Whatever you're doing, let everybody know what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I'm still actively. I'm taking care of my mom. She's 95. Um, but I still do witness sketches, and I still. I mean, that's what I'm mostly doing with my time is witness sketches. I'm working on Johnny's.
Yeah,
Um,
she's working on the most important project of her career right now. Actually, this is either gonna make or break her.
well, I came up with some more questions for you that I need to ask you, and I'll do it off camera. But
Okay.
so I'm still working with witnesses. People reach out to me all the time, and I'm kind of backlogged with witnesses right now, and thank God for people being patient with me because I just have a limited amount of time. So I'm doing that, and then I have a YouTube channel where if witnesses want to share their story, on video. I mean, witnesses don't have to want to do that. I will work with a witness even if they don't, and I don't charge witnesses for sketches. I want people to know that because a lot of people they may want to sketch and they'll say, well, I can't afford much. How much are you? And I don't charge witnesses for sketches.
Let me ask you a question. How many sketches do you have right now? In your file. How many sketches?
That are finished?
Yeah. That you just.
I have no idea.
Here's a suggestion. And I've done this suggestion before back, when I knew Carrie and all them. This is me. If you should take 12 of the best and have them done in a calendar.
Charlie Raymond did that with the Kentucky.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, we had a calendar. I don't remember what year it was. It was a couple years ago. Charlie Raymond did a calendar of some really good sketches. People can go to my website. I probably have. There's probably 30 like on the website, but there's a whole bunch that are like private that people didn't want to. They just wanted to have it done that they didn't reveal to other people. And I probably have 10 that I'm working on right now.
Right. Well, I'm just saying it could you could use it to bring in a little bit of income to compensate or whatever if you wanted to sell them for like $10 a piece or something like that. Or they're great to make the calendars, and if you do a Bigfoot conference or something. It's pretty neat. You don't have to
I
say whose encounter it was or anything like that. You just give it a month.
Well,
So this is
I do sell when I do go to conferences. I do have, I do those tumblers, the stainless steel
right.
ones that have. Then I put Sasquatch or Dogman or Mothman or whatever. And I do have some of those on my website. If they go to the store, people can order a custom one, or there's some. Yeah, it's mostly custom. I do custom stuff there. Um, and my YouTube channel is monetized, so I do make a little bit of money each month from my YouTube channel.
good.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
deal.
Awesome stuff.
yeah.
All right.
I'm
Well,
very blessed, and someone said that someone said a really nice comment, and thank you. I appreciate your comment. That's very nice.
Yeah, it was what was it, Richard Sybilla? You're a great person.
Yeah, thank you so
yeah.
Is that what it
kindly.
said?
I appreciate that.
She's
I
great
I
when she's
agree.
on time. She's great when she's on time.
I feel so bad
right
about.
now she's just good.
This is the second time. This is literally the second time that has happened to me. My friends from Ohio, they were like, they were waiting for me, and like one of them sent me a text like, "Sybilla, are you going to show up?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I mean, because this is the
yeah.
second time that's happened to me where
Yeah,
I
it got.
totally.
I think the first one that happened to us was Todd Neese. I think he was running
Oh, I
behind,
know
and I'm
Tom.
texting, dude, we're where are you? He's like, well, I'm doing. We're live right now, and he's like, oh crap, and then he
He's
came
like
on.
2 hours.
That's
He's
what she
probably
said.
2 or 3 hours.
Oh
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah, so I was like, man, oh man, and because Johnny will get with me and say, hey, where's you? I was like, dude, I know I put Eastern on the time.
Yeah.
You know
Oh
what I
dear.
mean? So
Yeah, no, I think well, weren't we originally scheduled for like 3:30, right? I think originally. So I put that on my phone, and then so it changed
I
to
don't know. When Johnny got with me, he gave me a date, and I said, as long as we do it by 5,
yeah,
because that gives us an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I can get ready to go to work and
yeah. And I know
stuff
you
like
got to
that.
go. And
So
I will be I'm going to be working on Johnny's sketch, and then Johnny's going to come on my show and tell his encounter on my show, so everybody will be able to see the artwork too. And once we're finished with the artwork too, Johnny, you'll be able to put it up here and show everybody too, like on y'all's podcast as well.
oh, he will.
Awesome.
Yeah,
He will.
yeah,
Super
The
excited
crowd
about
will
that.
demand it.
yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna get it. I already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a big printout and have that put in my office. Seriously.
Nice.
Well, I always make them high resolution, so you can do that.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you doing that. And I know that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And, uh,
Mm,
it's a labor. I know for every one of us, it's a labor of love. I just absolutely, I'm fascinated by it and I enjoy doing it. And I know,
too.
you're the same way. And it's nice. I thoroughly enjoy talking to people who you can tell just really love, have that passion. Real
Yep.
quick, funny story. So my father told me, I went down to see my father this weekend. Um, he's got Alzheimer's. A couple
Mm,
weeks ago, he wasn't doing too good. Now he's doing a lot better, but we'd already scheduled going down there on a vacation. Well, he had told me before that they have a friend or a couple that they know that their son is really into Bigfoot, right? And he was super excited to meet me or talk to me or whatever. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Well, I don't know, that was last year sometime. So we meet up for dinner and come to find out it's the same couple and their son. And we're sitting in this restaurant and we're all, getting around, figuring out where we're going to sit. And he just runs over and gets next to me and he's just kind of staring at me. And I'm like, and I don't realize what's going on here, right? And I'm like, all right, so this is where we're gonna sit or whatever. He's just kind of like staring at me like, and his mom looks at me. She's like, the reason why he's sitting there is because he knows that you're a Bigfoot researcher and he's all into it. I'm like, oh, I was told about you. Cool. So him and I started talking. Well, about 10 minutes into it, the mom said, well, actually, all this is because of me. Come to find out, she's the one that was super into it, super interested. And
Ah,
she made everybody else think it was all about her son trying to get,
the kid is
I
a
thought that was
huge.
funny. And she was
Nice.
just, both of them were just naming off the different videos and the different stories and everything else. So it was really cool to talk to people, that are that that were
Well,
had an obvious curiosity. They've never seen one, but they just had that curiosity that they
Yeah,
picked up along the
yeah.
way. So
yeah,
that was
it's
super cool.
nice.
I thought that was neat.
It
All
And
is.
his
right.
name's Jack, by the way. I don't know
Yeah.
if he'll be watching this, but Jack, we got you covered,
Well,
buddy. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna
she
start
will be,
emailing you all.
evidently.
Yeah, yeah,
She will be.
yeah. She probably knows all about this. She probably already knows all about Sybilla. She's like, of course I know who this is.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
not that big a deal. All
All
right,
right.
guys. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Well,
Well, I
keep us
thoroughly enjoyed
informed.
it.
You have our email, and if you have anything new or anything exciting, hit us up, man. We'll love to have you back on the show.
Okay, ditto. And I'd like to have,
Yeah,
I don't know if Johnny's going to come by himself or you're going to come too or whatever. I'm happy with either or both.
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll get it
I'm
figured out.
good. Yeah. I'm. My weekends are wide open. It's just Monday
Okay,
through Friday is kind of difficult, but my weekends are wide open. So if you ever plan or do anything like that, then I'm good to go.
weekends. Okay. All right,
All right,
guys.
guys.
Well, it
Well,
was
I
good to
enjoyed
have
it, and
you.
I'll talk
Thank
to
you,
everybody
guys.
later.
You got it, buddy.
Good night.
Thanks again,
Thanks,
Sybilla.
Sevilla.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, that was. She did great. She's awesome. She's such a sweetheart. Such a
Oh
good
yeah,
person.
she's super nice.
So
Great
and just let
personality, great
everybody
sense of
know.
humor.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's fantastic. Um, we guys, we have open dates. So if anybody wants to be on the show, you've had an encounter or you have some evidence you want to share, hit us up at sasquatchunredacted@gmail.com or either on our YouTube channel or email or whatever or Facebook. Hit us up and we'll talk to you and see about having you on the show. Um, working on some other names that you guys all know and I've been friends with for a long time, and it's just always timing that I haven't got them on the show earlier. But I'm working on it. And but if anybody wants to be on the show, give us a holler, give us an email. We'd love to have you. And it's wide open. We'll make it happen. So, and it was good seeing you, Johnny. And
Me too, man.
look forward to the next show. And take care of the family. And next time. Give us some up to date pictures on the baby.
Oh yeah. Yep, yep. Well, you have fun at work tonight.
Oh, I will. All right.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm on vacation. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that made me feel so much better.
Well, actually, one cool thing, they had the air show down in Panama City.
Yeah, I
That
saw
was
your video
awesome.
on it. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed that. I really did. So that was cool. Anyway, all right, good to go. That's enough yapping. Talk to
All
everybody
right,
later.
buddy.
Richard, I'll see you. I'll talk to you later on this week.
You got it, man.
All right.
All right, guys. Chat room was off the chain today. You guys are outstanding, man. We had some great people, some newcomers. I hope to see you guys again. We do a show every other week. It's not a weekly thing because we do have lives and we do research and we do all these other things going on and stuff like that. But it's so happy to see you guys. I know the time was kind of weird, but man, you guys came out and did your thing. Awesome. This year we're doing some new stuff. Me and Johnny are bouncing some ideas off our heads, and we're going to be doing some other stuff that's more interactive with you guys. So we look forward to that. And I just want to thank you all. You guys, fantastic. People watching and the people in the chat room, just fantastic. And I want to say God bless each and every one of you guys. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys soon. And enjoy this week. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you soon. Take care, guys.